Hello, everybody. It is so good to be live with you again. Welcome to the weekend. It is Truth Bombs, and today I'm joined by my mom, Renee Hecker. Truth Bombs with Ivory and Renee. My mom is a life coach, owner of One True North Life Coaching.
Yep.
And she has a pretty big social media following, linked down below to her social media. So you're going to fill us in on some life advice that accompanies some of the headlines that we'll get into. She's a marriage expert and everything like that. But we're going to jump, before we get to that, jump into some new findings as I've been researching this Bing Liu murder mystery. So I was with my mom when we watched Stu Peters' new controversial documentary.
Yeah, super interesting.
Yeah. And that is where, they touched on Bing Liu's case. And I called up the Ross Police Department outside of Pittsburgh. That's the department that was investigating Bing Liu's case. Called them up yesterday. Had a couple of conversations with them and tried to figure out what is going on. This case actually just got put on a shelf. It hasn't been adjudicated. So a court hasn't, a judge hasn't ruled on this or anything, but police feel confident that this guy named Hao Gu killed Bing Liu. Both guys are from China, and they were both living in the Pittsburgh area. So,
It's a dangerous time to tell the truth.
yeah,
Yep.
I know, right? So, I've got some interesting discoveries about ties between Pittsburgh and Wuhan, and something that was uncovered 2 days before Bing Liu was murdered, and we're gonna dive into all of this, as well as a lot of other headlines today. So before I get into it, shout out to the sponsor of my coverage, which is Noble Gold. Click that link down below. It'll bring this page up. So for years now, people have been setting up a little contest between crypto and gold, but that's like comparing a truck with an SUV. Both carry stuff and travel from A to B, but they do different jobs. Gold's job is to keep the value of your money safe and preserve its value. And since Ukraine and the oil and inflation crisis, it's done a brilliant job compared to stocks and other investments. So if you're worried about what's going on right now, and who isn't, just talk to the experts at Noble Gold about precious metal IRAs for your retirement. They'll put you straight on your options and hold your hand through the whole setup process. And this month, for any qualifying IRA, you'll get an incredible 3-ounce silver American Virtue coin completely free as a thank you. Call 877-646-5347 now to find out more, or visit noblegoldinvestments.com, linked down below. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. Okay, guys, so get this. It turns out that Wuhan and Pittsburgh are sister cities, and they work really closely together. And that's kind of why, people in some of the Chinese residents can easily come to Pittsburgh. They have this great partnership between Wuhan and Pittsburgh, of all places. So the Chinese scientists at University of Pittsburgh School of Medicine had been studying viruses, actually, and they had determined that SARS and MERS, they had studied SARS and MERS closely. So when this new illness rolled around, they looked at it and said, this looks remarkably similar to SARS and MERS, actually. And so they were making great strides. Now, Bing Liu, who was mysteriously gunned down May 2nd of 2020, he was looking at the cellular basis for the infection of this new illness. So basically, it sounds like he was looking at how the illness attaches, how and where it attaches to your body, and how infection spreads and why it targets certain areas. And the more you can understand that, the more you can develop remedies to stop it. Well, apparently he and his colleagues were making pretty good progress, because I just uncovered that 2 days before Bing Liu is murdered, University of Pittsburgh scientists announced they believe they have found a potential, they're this is the word I'm not supposed to say on YouTube.
The plague.
Well, they had found a vaccine. I'm just going to say it. YouTube gods, please still love me for saying your trigger words outside of the narrative. The researchers at University of Pittsburgh said that they had found a vaccine for the needle. But guess what? This vaccine was not mRNA. And, you know, some people were already working on mRNA. You can't get in the way of mRNA. When Pfizer just blew a bunch of money on developing this, you don't mess with Pfizer's money. So these little Pittsburgh guys are like, dude, we developed something. Actually, it mimics, regular vaccine. It follows the traditional vaccine approach.
I see.
Where you actually take part of the original, unlike the new technology,
right,
which actually teaches your DNA to just manufacture the stuff on your.
Yeah.
So, they made this big announcement, and the way this vaccine works is it is not a needle. It is like a little Band-Aid. It's a little patch you place on your skin in a Band-Aid, and there's tiny microneedles that send the spike proteins into your body and create natural immunity. I'm like, how many code words am I saying right now? Anyway, so it's this new technology they announced the last day in April 2020. May 1st, they published their study of their findings, and then May 2nd, Bing Liu gets riddled with bullets.
Oh, that's a little sketchy.
Yeah, how interesting is that? Now, he was at the forefront of looking at the cellular mechanisms associated with the illness in the human body, which is a major key for developing a new vaccine. His name isn't published on the new study, but it's just very interesting. It's just very interesting to me, the timing of that. They make their announcement on a Thursday, they publish the study on a Friday, and on a Saturday, Bing Liu gets riddled with bullets.
Yeah, it's like they weren't even trying to be subtle about it.
And then we never hear about a Band-Aid associated vaccine ever again.
Yeah. Huh.
Why is that? Why did we never hear about this? Band-Aid associated vaccine.
I don't know that they ever wanted us to understand that this vaccine is completely different. You know, gradually information came out about that, but
you know, in America, normally in our free market society that we thought we lived in a free market society, that free market means there's a lot of different options. If the market's really free, the ingenuity of Americans naturally creates every option you'd ever want. Maybe you don't want a needle. Maybe you want a patch. Maybe you don't want to experiment with this new kind of technology, DNA-associated technology. Maybe you want to go the more traditional route with this patch that includes a little bit of the actual illness. And it sounds like in Big Pharma, we don't have a free market. So that was very, very strange, very alarming to me. And talking to police, police really seemed like they had their blinders on, their mind made up. Like, no, we're not going to tell you why we feel confident about this, but we're very confident that Hao Gu shot Bing Liu and shot Hao Gu. Nobody else shot Hao Gu. Well, how are you so confident about it? Well, nobody did. And we think it's just media spin. Police were telling me this stuff yesterday. We think it's just media spin that Bing Liu was on the verge of a big breakthrough. I was like, no, the university said that themselves. The media didn't make that up. He's like, oh, really? I was like, yeah, how much did you talk to the university about all these developments that were going on? And police didn't, it sounds like. Police didn't see any evidence of some big scheme, and so they didn't even want to look into that, it sounds like. So they put this case on a shelf, and because police are so confident that Hao Gu shot Bing Liu and himself, this is at the back of the list of a very backlogged court. And who knows when this case will actually be adjudicated. due to the illness and the pandemic, the court system is very backlogged, and cases where there's a criminal that's still alive are prioritized.
Yeah.
In this case, they're confident Haogu killed him, so forget about Haogu is from China as well. And I'm going to dig more into his background too, because I'm getting a sense that there's something more going on with Haogu. So stay tuned.
It may be 50 years like Kennedy's shooting.
Before we really get to the bottom.
So we can look into the facts.
Yeah. So I don't know, guys. It's interesting times. I want to bring you guys attention to Elon Musk. So Elon Musk he withdrew the option to buy just a portion of Twitter and said, I want to buy all of Twitter. Twitter board adopts poison pill after Musk's $43 billion bid to buy the company. He said, I'm going to go all in and purchase your entire website of Twitter for $43 billion. Can you believe a website costs that much? $43 billion. That's how rich. Apparently, Elon Musk has like $222 billion. I read that he's now the richest man in the world.
Wow. So
Twitter's board is panicking and saying, we don't want to, give all this away. So they're developing a poison pill. Says Twitter adopted a limited duration shareholder rights plan, often called a poison pill, a day after billionaire Elon Musk offered to buy the company for $43 billion. The company announced Friday. Such a move is a common way to fend off a potential hostile takeover by diluting the stake of the entity eyeing the takeover. It's incredible. And I was just reading on, I was actually reading another website that YouTube doesn't like, but I'm going to shout out my source, Epic Times. They highlighted the fact that Elon Musk's reason, this week Elon talked about his reasoning for wanting to buy all of Twitter. And he believes that the censorship we're seeing in America right now poses a civilizational risk.
Yeah.
So
he wants to free it then.
Yeah, so if one of these censored platforms could be freed up, by buying the entire thing, he thinks we could save the world a little bit.
Well, it's worth a try, I guess. I mean, free up one of the main ones, because all the main ones are all censored. So
Exactly. There's new platforms coming about, like Trump just came out with True Social, but very few people are on those platforms.
Yeah. People are slow to change, so.
As long as the majority of people are on the big platforms, then censorship can be successful. That means the majority of the people aren't getting the truth on certain topics.
Well, and that's where it's the conservative or the ones, the truth seekers, I guess, and the ones that want freedom of speech that are going to the other platforms. So the ones who are still drinking the Kool-Aid, as I say, or just taking what they're given by the major networks aren't. So they're still always going to be getting the censored version.
Exactly.
So to buy Twitter and free it would be, could be a huge help, huge thing.
So have you ever been censored, Mom?
I'm pretty careful. and that's not, I mean, I kind of stay away from politics just because once you touch on that, it's such a volatile thing, and every time I do, I get this lashback. Not very much, but
From your viewers?
Yeah, not very much, but it's
on
it's
Instagram.
It's not my purpose for being on social media. So
it's to help people with life advice. Like marriage.
So I touch on it once in a while, but not enough really to be censored or anything like that.
But it's not just politics they're censoring these days. The first time I ever got censored, I was actually still at Fox, and they assigned me to cover Dr. Stella Emanuel, who was treating patients in Houston, and all I did, I posted on Facebook, hey, coming up, we're actually going to Stella's clinic and showing what she's really doing and kind of deciphering this controversial doctor. And Facebook censored that post. They wouldn't even let me promote my upcoming Fox broadcast. And because she was using a drug that Facebook didn't like. That's not politics, guys. That's medicine.
No, I
That's
think
zero politics.
those are the two things they censor right now, is anything dealing with different remedies than the pharma drugs they want promoted, and politics. Those two things. I mean, even naturopathic doctors have been taken out for, I mean, that's kind of a conspiracy thing, but it appears to be something that's true too. Someone who's coming out with natural remedies. And
They end up getting, an accident happened.
Yeah,
This
right.
doctor was solving cancer and
you-
bashed his head somehow.
You look into the long line of that, of naturopathic doctors who have been, for some reason mysteriously gone, dead.
Oh my
There's
gosh.
a long line of those too, long list of those who have been taken out. So, which we've done a lot of natural things ever since you were young. And my main reason, I told Ivory, my main reason for doing natural things wasn't because I was a little bit health conscious, but really didn't know a lot of natural remedies in my 20s when Ivory was little, but I was extremely thrifty. And so to save on doctor bills and things, I decided to research and try natural things so that we could avoid high doctor costs. And that kind of launched into doing more and more and learning more about it. By the time I hit my 40s and realized the detriments of antibiotics and pharma drugs and all the side effects, I was so glad that I did things the way I did. I never once with any of my 12 children gave them antibiotics. I gave them the natural immune building things and natural antibiotics, and they are so strong and healthy.
Yeah, apparently antibiotics destroy your gut health, and gut health is key to staying healthy and in
good health,
in a plethora of different areas of your health. So
And we had some serious cases of Lyme disease, which people struggle with for years in Wisconsin. We got so many of those deer ticks there, kind of in the heart of it all. And one thing that's interesting, I believe completely, is that our immune system, our body is a natural pharmacy in itself. It can come up with all sorts of natural compounds to defeat whatever illness you have, but you got to give it the right environment to do that. And one thing that registered with me with that, it was when I had Lyme's disease, and I was in the 4th stage of it. I had Bell's palsy.
Oh, wow.
Joint pain all the time, just moving from joint to joint.
I was like 5 at this time or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. And the doctor gave me penicillin because I was nursing a baby, didn't want to give me antibiotics. And then that only worked for like 3 weeks, I think. And then all my symptoms came back again. And so he said he wanted to try to give me, once I'm done and wean my baby, give me intravenous antibiotics, which I didn't want at all because of the cost.
Oh.
And so I had heard that Lyme's disease affects the nervous system. I'm not sure if my understanding of that was correct at the time, but I also had heard that
Vanessa says she has Lyme. How did you get well?
So this is how I did it. And it's not, natural cures aren't easy. They usually require
It takes discipline.
discipline and bearing with some unpleasant tastes and feelings. So I was game, though, for trying to heal my nervous system, if that's what the Lyme's disease attacks. So I'd have heard that a 21-day fast rejuvenates your whole nervous system. So when I weaned my baby at the time, I just launched right into doing a 21-day fast, just drinking distilled water and nothing else. Did that for 21 days. It acted just like the penicillin did that the doctor had given me. Within 1 day, by the 2nd day, all my symptoms of Lyme's disease was gone. And unlike the penicillin, after doing the penicillin, within like 3 weeks, all my symptoms came back. But with fasting, all my symptoms were gone for the following 9 months after I ended my fast. And then they came back again. So I thought, I think what I'll do is do it another time, do another 21-day fast, and then I'm going to maintain it with 1 day a week. And so I did another 21-day fast. And
Oh, my word.
then I fasted a day a week for a while and have never had any problems since.
Wow.
So,
Yeah, and then eventually, I never caught Lyme's disease, but almost everyone in my family did. It was common in Wisconsin. My dad ended up catching it while I was off at college, I think, when my dad caught Lyme's disease, and got super bad for him because it grew. It's a parasite that grows right into your heart. It loves muscles. My dad's, it was just tearing apart his heart, and he was trying all kinds of stuff. Nothing worked until he got this stone necklace with low-level radiation. He wore the necklace over his chest, and no joke, within hours, his heart rate.
20 minutes. Within 20
Oh my
minutes.
gosh! Yeah, his heart started to beat more normally. It was unbelievable. What kind of rock was it? In case people, it's like nobody would even believe it. This is the craziest stuff. Like, it's a story that like nobody would believe, but it's like these natural remedies are so true. And I think the best thing about this pandemic is people are waking up to the fact that there is something beyond pharma. That maybe pharma is not the big solution. Western medicine might not always be. I mean, when you need surgery and stuff, you need surgery. But when it comes to things like Lyme's disease,
there's so many other cures.
These doctors laugh off like a rock, like a kook. Like, no, that's kooky. But literally, it saved my dad's life.
No, in the early 1900s, it was actually something. There's low-level radiation in different rocks, and I'm trying to think of the name of the study of that science. I can't
Just
think of
look up a low-level radiation rock.
And the name of the company that he got it from was nighthawkminerals.com.
Oh, there you go.
And they sell those rocks. And it was a kit for $500, lasts your whole lifetime. But a mud pack for him to sleep on, a rock to put in his water,
Wow.
a rock to hang around his neck, and then I think 2 eye rocks, or
Oh, wow.
I think little rocks that you can put on, like for women to put on if they have a tumor in their breast or something, to put on.
Oh, wow.
But
yeah, the radiation from the rock literally killed the parasite. And then his immune system was able to catch up and take over. So that was incredible.
Well, the whole idea of it's kind of like what a workout does. It breaks down your cells a little bit, and then your cells can build up stronger. But yeah, he was blacking out. He could hardly get up from the couch without setting himself because his heart rate had dropped so low.
Oh my gosh.
So he put the necklace on, and he could feel his heart pick up and start beating within 20 minutes. It started picking up his rhythm, and it was the first time for a long time he'd been able to stand up and just walk.
Wow.
And progressively got better from there. So he did that. He did hydrogen peroxide therapy, H2O2 therapy also. That helped his heart. The H2O2 therapy helped his pain element that he had in the joints and muscles. Awesome. And for the kids, of course, I couldn't put my 3 oldest daughters didn't get Lyme's disease, but all the rest of the children did. And so for the little children, I would just have them, they were usually pretty sick. They didn't feel like eating anyways. So if they were willing to just drink water for a while, I'd give them, if they felt like they were hungry, I'd put the food in front of them, and generally they wouldn't eat it. So they would fast a little bit there, but I'd keep them off sugar so that their immune system would stay strong, because sugar weighs your immune system down tremendously. And then I would give them colloidal silver and colostrum, bovine colostrum, those 2 things. Colloidal silver is a natural antibiotic, and bovine colostrum is an immune system builder. So between those 2 things, keeping them off sugar, they would gradually come out of it, and
their immune system would take out the Lyme.
Take it out and they'd be good to go.
Our Western medicine is so freaking corrupt. We never hear about these things from the doctors, and it's like, why? So
simple.
Yeah, there's so many things. And speaking of colloidal silver, like low doses of silver is supposed to be really good for your health. So my Aunt Joanna, we're here in Arizona celebrating Grace's birthday tomorrow, or her wedding, Grace's wedding, my sister's wedding tomorrow. So hanging out with Aunt Joanna yesterday, she's like, instead of taking colloidal silver shots or orally, she just wanted to use silver utensils, just using silver utensils. But if you sometimes if you let the utensils sit in the sink, the water from the sink residue will screw up, stain your silver and things. It'll tarnish it. And so she always had to deal with that until she switched to this water filter that, what does she call? A certain thing that you can do where you attach a filter to the water that just flows through your sink and through your showers to purify your water. And it's called structured water. So she structured the water of her whole house, and suddenly her silver would never tarnish again. And then it dawned on her, because she was watching Korean dramas, and the Koreans would test whether there was poison in the water by dipping like a silver stick in the water. And if the silver tarnished, there was poison in it.
Oh, that's interesting.
Guys, this is
Wow.
coming full circle with Bing Liu.
Yeah.
And so if you watch Stu Peters' documentary, you know what I'm talking about. So anyway,
That's
so
interesting.
she's like, oh my gosh, has there been poison in our water the whole time until we structured the water?
Well, you know that's what those rocks from Nighthawk Minerals, they say when you put the rock in your water, it structures it.
Oh, wow. It changes the frequency of the water to kill the whatever poison might be in the water. And there could be countless different things that are considered poison to your body, harmful. So it gets rid of all of that. And her silver utensils would no longer tarnish. She was like, oh my gosh, we've been drinking a little bit of poison in our water this whole time.
Well,
and then, so then my Aunt Joanna, I just love how she thinks. Then she said, wait, so when was there a big push for stainless steel utensils instead of silver? Because in America, they always used to have silver utensils. Why did society want to move to stainless steel? And it was way back in the early 1900s, I guess, around the same time that
We started.
mercury?
Oh,
Or no. What's that? What is that they put in the in your water?
Fluoride.
Fluoride.
Huh.
Same time fluoride came around, they switched
Oh,
to
that's interesting. Yeah.
stainless steel utensils. Joanna was breaking all this down for me. I was like, oh my goodness. So
Yeah. See, we've always had a well water.
watch out for your water.
It's been good.
So with that being said, I don't know how we got on this health tangent, but we do love health. But before this podcast, I was like, Mom, what should we talk about? And she was like, how about astrology? So speaking of Elon Musk, apparently his success, it was written in his birth chart, New York Post reporting. Guess Elon's sign. He's apparently the richest man in the world. Yeah, $222 billion empire. He is richer than Jeff Bezos. Guess Elon's sign.
Guessing either a Leo or Earth sign.
Wrong.
Oh, really?
What sign do you guys think he is? You know what it is? He's a Cancer. Can you believe that? A Cancer.
I would have never. I'd have never guessed.
But he's Elon Musk is not from America, is he?
Maybe he's got a Taurus moon.
He's Elon. Where was Elon born? He was born in South Africa. And I've been saying there's a big difference between American cancers and cancers who are born in foreign countries. Cancer is the most emotional sign of the zodiac, and America has a culture where men are not supposed to have emotions. I know we all talk about, but men are becoming girlier and they're supposed to cry now. No. But for the most part, men are not supposed to have emotions. So Cancer men naturally have emotions. So they try to suppress those emotions in America and become more toxic. But if they're born in a foreign country where that culture's not there, you find a very emotionally evolved man. And maybe that's Elon Musk. And his moon is Virgo. So according to this astrologer on New York Post, that's the makeup for someone with who's going to make a lot of money. Now, earth signs are known to make a lot of money. Okay. What do you think Joe Biden's sign is?
Joe Biden's son?
His sign, his astrology.
Sign.
Joe Biden's son. Oh, yeah, we can get into Hunter, too. Hunter's astrology?
Yeah, it's like, I don't know him. And I'm surprised I don't know Joe Biden. That's so... because that's always of interest to me. Maybe I could have guessed it earlier before he's kind of gotten older in years, and personality's maybe a little changed. I don't know. I don't know. For some reason, I wanted to say a Libra, but I don't know why.
No, Joe Biden is actually a Scorpio. Can you believe that? He's a water sign. Joe Biden is a Scorpio. Guess what Jill Biden's sign is? And tell me if they're a good match.
Jill. She. I don't really know her that much. I mean, I haven't viewed her and observed her enough to know.
I covered her once. She was really uptight. She was really uncomfortable. Her job was to walk through the Houston Food Bank and act like she cared about hunger.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing that. I remember that.
And I was filming her. She's supposed to care about hunger while caring about social distancing. It was really funny. She and her entourage literally walked into the Houston Food Bank shoulder to shoulder. And then there were little dots on the ground, like 6 feet apart, where they were supposed to stand for COVID. So then they all split up for the photo op. They're all standing spaced out like they care about social distancing. But literally walking in, they were shoulder to shoulder. And I was like, this is such a phony photo op. And Jill Biden knows it, and that's why she's so uptight. I don't know if she can handle faking this whole political thing. Anyway, her sign is Gemini.
Uh-huh. That's a good sign.
That's Mom's sign. Yeah. So Joe and Jill are actually not a good match. Scorpio and Gemini? That's not good.
It's a deep communication, physical attraction. That's what those two signs.
What do you think? What do you think Bill Gates' sign is?
Seems like I knew that at one time. Bill Gates. What is it?
Virgo.
Huh.
Bill Gates is a Virgo. Wait, hold up. I got that wrong. Yeah, he's a Virgo.
Virgo.
October, September. Yeah. So,
well,
you wanted to know Hunter Biden. He's an Aquarius. That is very sad for me. I'm an Aquarius. He gives my sign a bad name.
We're two air signs.
Oh, boy. So, interesting times. Speaking of Joe and Jill Biden, there's a big headline today about their dog, Major Bite. You'll recall their dog turned very vicious, started biting Secret Service. Did you hear about this? Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Well, the White House and Jen Psaki was like, no, this is a small little thing. He nipped once at someone, no big deal. Well, it turns out someone did a public information request for the emails from the Secret Service in regards to this. Turns out this dog was vicious. The week of March 1st through the 8th, 2021, the dog bit someone every single day. It says, at the current rate, an agent or officer has been bitten every day this week, causing damage to a tire or bruising punctures to the skin. NBC News reporting this. Huh. And I was reading at Epic Times, one of the emails said that the injury was severe. So, and they were downplaying this and cycling in more and more people around this dog. Each person who would get bit obviously wouldn't want to be there anymore. They'd probably be at the hospital. Yeah. So they bring someone else in, not warning that, no, this dog is on an attacking spree. So the White House was not, they had no care for the actual well-being of the people. And they were just letting this ravenous dog go after.
Was it like, this is a security pet, right? It's not like their family dog?
No, this is Joe Biden's family dog.
Oh, their family dog.
Yeah.
So they're attached to it, don't want to let go, huh?
So they finally had to send that dog off to another location and get a new dog that they named Commander. So the news was just talking about how they kind of were destroying the trust between Biden and his Secret Service agents. Like, you kind of want Secret Service to have your back, so you got to have Secret Service's back and not send a ravenous dog against your entire team of protectors. So that was an interesting headline. Okay, so we wanted to get into a relationship talk because you're a relationship expert, Mom, and turns out there's big headlines that today's show was focusing on this. Divorce risk higher when wife is ill. So they were talking about men. If two people are married and a man gets sick compared to a woman who gets sick, the chances that the man will divorce the woman versus the woman divorcing the man are much higher. They did this study, researchers did a study and actually had 50-50, a group of men who were sick and women who were sick. Everyone was married. And it was about 90% of the people who ended up divorcing their spouse were the husbands of a sick wife.
And it was because of the sickness?
Well, that they're implying it must be.
Yeah.
Because all the other couples didn't divorce. Like the wives who had sick husbands, they stayed by their husbands. Yeah. And this whole topic gets brought up because of this couple right here. This is Deidre and Albert Pujols. He's a professional baseball player. And his wife on Instagram just recently announced she had brain surgery to remove a tumor. Oh. Days later, he announces he's divorcing her. Oh, wow. Wow. So what's your take on that?
Well, I mean, it makes sense when you think about it. I mean, it's not good, but it takes, I mean, women are technically more naturally have the tendency to be nurturers, you know. So when there's someone sick, they have more of a tendency to fill the nurturing role, you know. But sickness affects your drive for sex. And so men aren't going to be satisfied as easily and are going to have to bear with not having that desire met. And it's going to take some digging deep sometimes to love your wife, whether she can meet that or not, you know.
But why is it that the woman sticks by the man when he's sick?
For one, their desire is more cyclic, so it's not 24/7 strong, and they tend to be natural nurturers and so more naturally a caretaker, more willing to fit that role, I think. You know, mothers with their babies and things like that, they're the ones who are kind of made. It's not that men aren't that way, but typically,
if a woman is sick right now, how can she keep her man liking her and not get divorced?
Well, it really helps to choose a man who's faithful to you, you know, for better or for worse. I mean, no matter if the woman is sick or the man is sick, it always, I think, takes a toll on your marriage. It just does. You're changed. You're not the man isn't the strong, like in our family when Dad had Lyme's disease. He wasn't the strong rock that he had been, you know, so it took adjusting on my part to that to see him change and not fill that role and just be so weak, you know. But life puts you through all those changes, and that's why I think the vows at the beginning are for better, for worse, for richer, for poor, sickness, and health, because inevitably, if you stick together, you're going to confront one or all of those.
This is Deidre, by the way, whose husband is divorcing her. Here's her brain tumor, and now they're getting divorced. But the next post was him being like, "I'm back," you know, him texting her about getting back on the field, and she sends him flaming hearts and makes a whole post about her support for him as they're getting divorced. Wow. It just seems very strange. Very strange. Maybe she's hoping he changes his mind or something. And okay, what about if you're a man watching this whose wife is sick? How do you keep your attraction when your spouse is sick?
Well, how do you keep your attraction as you're aging, you know, and all that? There's so many changes you go through, and that's why love is a lot of feelings. But in the end, love is also always a choice you're making. And what is love anyways? It doesn't just involve feelings. It involves commitment. It involves meeting each other's needs. And you decide to be there, not just for them, but if you have a family, for your kids. And there's a lot to be learned through marriage because you decided to stick by each other through thick and thin, and it changes you. And I kind of think that that's what God's intention was with marriage anyways, wasn't just to have a pleasure ride the whole time, but to change us and transform us through sickness and through financial crises, all those things. I think those have probably been the most life-transforming things in my life, is Dad and I sticking together through all of that.
So the study I mentioned is out of the Seattle Cancer Center Alliance, reported in the journal Cancer. And it did say that a woman is 6 times more likely to be separated or divorced soon after a diagnosis of cancer or multiple sclerosis than if a man in the relationship is the partner. Another big marriage headline this week was in regard to finances. You mentioned that. So this divorce lawyer is breaking it down for us. She says that marriages in which women make more money than their husbands don't work because men need to feel valued, and it upsets the natural balance. So if you as a girl make more money than your man, your marriage is doomed. Your man needs to make more money than you as a woman. Viewers, give us your feedback on this if you agree. Men, do you want your wife to make more or less money than you? Women, do you want your husband to make more or less money than you? What's your take on this, Mom?
I think it has to do, there's a marriage, I think it's a husband and wife who lead a marriage counseling seminar kind of thing called Love and Respect, and their basis for that is that women desire to be loved and adored and valued, men desire respect. And when they both get that, the marriage goes better. So I think that it's in the society especially that money and lots of money just kind of demands respect. Mm-hmm. And so I don't think it's so much about whether somebody if the man makes more money or not, it's whether he's feeling respected or not. And women tend to have a little higher respect for a man who's making a good income and can provide well. But
yeah, this guy, Mr. Don says, women belittle men who make less money than they do. You know what? Guilty. I do. It is a little bit hard to respect a guy that I'm more ambitious than.
Yeah.
You know, like what are you doing with your life?
But what if there's a guy who's super ambitious, but more in a philanthropist way that didn't necessarily bring in a bunch of money?
Yeah, no, I've been through these relationships. My mom knows my struggle to find a man. I've got all these exes that I've tried dating. And my one ex was a philanthropist. And any money he, made in his philanthropy went right back out to the people he was helping. And so he was not rich or anything, but he was highly ambitious with his philanthropy, and his heart and soul was in it. And I love that. I found that very attractive. So it wasn't about the dollar signs. Yeah. To me, it was about his ambition. And then the last guy I was in a relationship with, I guess he had a lot of money, but he would take these big naps in the middle of the day. And we were in the pandemic, and he would invite me over to his office because Fox would not let me in. Fox had this weird rule coming down from Lachlan Murdoch that nobody was allowed into the TV stations. We had to work from home. And so he was like, well, we have an extra office room. Come to our office building. So I would go over to his office to work. And he would, he worked in like financial. I was in news next door, in the room next door. And I would find him sleeping on the couch at the office. I was like, why are you sleeping on the couch at the office? He's like, well, I still make the money. I was like, that's not attractive. You're supposed to be hustling all day.
But remember, I reasoned with you when you told me that. And I said, does it matter what hours he works? Because he probably works in the evening hours. And it doesn't matter if you take a nap during the day. It's whether you're being lazy, and was it, like Winston Churchill did a lot of his work from bed. Of course, he wasn't napping all the time, but then you go back to the law of attraction says that the law of attraction works by attraction, not assertion. So it's not, the society is all about hustle, hustle, hustle. But it's more who you are, what your energy and vibe is, and being the attracting force to it, so that all your work is inspired and you're not like swimming upstream, but going with the law and swimming downstream. So you're still working, but all your work is effectual. And if it's really effectual, you may not need to work as hard.
Effectual means effective for those in Rio Linda. All right. So Sheba Emun, are you a man or a woman? Let's get your take. I told an old friend from high school my net worth. The convo went silent for a few seconds. Then she asked who I was dating. I asked her out. Okay, so you're a man. In 7th grade, and she literally chuckled and said no. Oh, so you're saying that once she knew how rich you were, she was more interested in dating you, and actually asked. That's interesting.
I think women generally like to be provided and took care of, whether they need it or not. They like a man who can.
Women like a guy. They like to feel taken care of, and men like to feel like they're providing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So these days I try to stay low key about my career and everything if I'm meeting a guy, because I think that's a turnoff. I think my success, I'm very successful these days, guys. It's a blessing, and I appreciate everyone's support. I'm doing great, and not just news. I'm dabbling in real estate too, and I want to diversify. I feel like if I can be successful in real estate, I can, have that cushion so that nothing can faze me in news. So I'm not even money hungry in news. So that my motive in news can really be the truth.
Yeah.
So why not be successful in real estate too? So
Sure.
I'm diversifying right now, working really hard and trying to become very successful in many areas of my life. And I'm finding that I think that's a big turnoff to men. They don't want an insanely ambitious, very successful, diversified woman. So I just keep super low key about it. You know, I try to. Although one time I got really excited about this real estate and then mentioned it to this new guy and didn't hear from him again. I don't think and this lawyer we were just showing, she argued that it emasculates a man. It takes away his manliness if a woman has all this success going for her.
I think you can keep your femininity and your attractability, even though you make a lot of money.
I'm still very feminine.
Yeah, there's a certain stereotype around a woman like that.
When the man realizes that I have less fear than him, I'm more ambitious than him, and I just act authoritatively in a lot of aspects of my life. It does emasculate the man. The only thing that doesn't is when the man is more of all of those things than me. So I think that's what I have to wait for, is a man who's just way more accomplished, ambitious, confident, fearless than I am.
And you like
and I'll wait for that.
You like more of an alpha, right?
I'm very alpha myself, so obviously I need an insanely alpha man, because I'm more alpha than most men, which you guys always tell me. And when I called out Fox Live on air, that was like the number one comment is that Ivory has bigger balls than any man. And sadly, that's why I'm single. Because in relationships, you want gender roles. I think end of the day, most people do want the traditional gender roles. I want that. I want to feel like the woman in the relationship, and to feel like the woman in the relationship, you need a man who is above you in all these aspects.
Yeah. But it seems like opposites attract, two alphas married to each other. I mean, it's a rarity. I think I can think of one couple, I guess.
So you're saying I'd be attracted to a beta?
Well, it just seems like that's what
I
they.
would never
No, I know
go
you
for a
wouldn't.
beta.
I know you wouldn't. But it seems
Yeah.
like that's what they end up with, because they like to be an alpha and be in control of things. And inevitably, they end up with a man, even though they say on paper that they want a strong alpha, someone stronger than them. Are they willing to surrender some of their control to have a man that they can't control? That's the dilemma, I think.
Yeah, I have a natural tendency to take control as an alpha myself. And so the only kind of man I can fall in love with is one that I cannot control. I'll naturally try to control, but if the guy knows how to lead properly, then I'm like, oh, I like you.
Okay.
You won't let me control. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so here someone said, your choice, a career or a family. You know, that's a common talking point, is you can only have either or. But we're seeing more and more women in America try to do both. And a lot of people do. And then they're very frazzled. But I think from where I'm at right now, you know, my thing is so what do you do until you find a family? Sit home and knit? Or do you go pursue a career and wait for your husband? See, that's what I'm doing. I'm pursuing my career. Because I have a lot of passions other than men. I think it's weird to only want a man and nothing else in the world.
Well, we're a family. I mean,
How
my
about
passion
tell
wasn't
the
just
world?
a man. My passion was to be a mom of many.
Yeah,
A mom
that
of many.
happens to be one of my passions too, but I also
Yeah.
have a bunch of other passions. So since I can't find a man worthy of marrying right now, it's
Yeah.
very sad.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys who like me, ask me out on dates. There's a lot of betas in the world. Anyway, so I'm going to continue pursuing these other things.
Yeah.
Like telling the world's story and uncovering what the heck's going on with Bing Liu. So that's my thing. Yeah, I don't think that you can, you know, because you're pursuing your career while you're waiting to find a real man, that the pursuit of your career is staving the man off. It's definitely staving off betas who feel inferior about your career. Yeah. You don't want those people anyway. So that's how I feel about it.
Yeah. No, I agree. After your dad died, one of the messages I get many messages on Instagram. One man said, "I don't get your dilemma. You're still young enough and pretty. You can just marry again. You know, don't worry about taking care of your kids." And to me, it's like, I'm not going to get married just so I don't have to work and take care of my kids. You know, I wanted to take the challenge on. I didn't want to be rescued from it. And I'm not an alpha. I'm happily loved being in the supportive role of dad and always have. But once he died, it was like, I want to take this challenge on, and I want to show that even a mother who has nothing to fall back on and no college education degree or whatever can still take care of her kids in an all of a sudden thing happen like that, and that God takes care of us. So I took the challenge on and just it's like, I don't want to be rescued. I don't want another man to come in and swoop in and take care of things. I want to be the woman and rise up to the challenge and do that. So day by day, little by little, here we are 2 years later, doing good.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Thank you, Mark, for the super chat, the super sticker. Mark Usri, thank you for your support of my independent journalism with the super sticker. No comment with it though. I mean, I'm looking to see if there's any other super chats. I gotta get a better program. I always forget to talk about super chats. I'm learning the whole YouTube podcast thing. So many comments though. Thank you guys for chiming in.
So what's a super chat? What's a?
You hit the $ next to the live chat section, and you can it'll highlight your. You drop a donation in the super chat, and then it'll highlight your comment.
Okay.
And
That's cool.
yeah, so here we go. Meh says, there is only one alpha in the group. It's a title for the leader, not some intrinsic characteristic. Diplomats can be the alpha in chimpanzee society, where the term comes from. Well, yeah, different people have different tendencies to lead, and I know that I have that tendency. And in a group, there is one leader, though, right? And so I'm looking to find myself in a relationship where I am not the leader. When it comes to romance and marriage, that's where I do not want to be the leader. I want the man to be the leader. And so that's where it is. Oh, they're shouting you out. Love Mama Hecker. Yay. Oh, Mama got those dime jeans for real. Mama Hecker rocks. Yay.
Yeah.
In order to succeed in today's woke corporate economy, you have to fall in line, which dissolves one's manliness. A few lucky people can become successful outside of the system. Maybe you'll get one. I was just scrolling Instagram today. Candace Owens was addressing this issue. Some Generation Z girl wrote into her, like, how can I find a manly man in this woke world? And Candace was like, well, go for a 60-year-old. Ha, just kidding. And she was like, no, actually, you have to go out to the country. She's like, if you're living in New York City, city boys are all programmed to be effeminate. Mm-hmm. And Candace was just saying, when I moved to Tennessee, the whole culture of men was so much different.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's interesting.
That's true. Ranchers, farmers, loggers. They're not all alphas, but I mean, they tend to be more manly just because of their lifestyle and work place is so rigorous and takes toughness. You know,
I love happy stories. I got engaged on Christmas. My fiance and I got lucky. We're both unicorns who just happened to cross paths at the right time. Mm-hmm. Yay, I love that. So, yeah, someday you'll just click with someone.
Is Candace Owens, she's married, right?
Yeah.
I wonder if because she's pretty alpha.
She's very alpha. There you go.
So I wonder what she ended up with.
Yeah, I know nothing about her husband. I've seen him in pictures a few times.
I've never even seen a picture.
And I'm assuming he's ultra alpha. Because I think Candace is like me, where even though we're alpha, the man needs to be more alpha than us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you for, I see another super chat. I'm figuring out how to bring it up on the screen. Here we go. Spiritual lamb, does that say? Or spirit lamb? Hi, Ivory and Renee. I became disabled and my husband is a real trooper. Married this year, makes 30. I truly love him. Oh, that's such a wonderful, happy story. Yeah. And, you know, it ties in with we were talking earlier about having illnesses or disabilities. You said you became disabled and your husband's got your back. It's a wonderful thing. I love to hear that.
There are so many good men out there. I mean, I was saying how women tend to be more the nurturers, go into the nurturing role, but I would say of Dad and I, he was more the nurturer and me not. So when he was sick and things, it was, I wasn't necessarily all feeling and coddling of him, but I was raised to be committed, you know, even when things are tough. And I loved him, you know, I loved him to the core, so.
Here we go. Elon Musk, is he alpha or what is alpha behavior?
I looked it up once because I was using that word and not sure that I was using it appropriately, but it seemed like the definition that Google brought up was
leave it to Google.
Was what I was using it as. It was accurate according to how I was using it. You know, like all the good characteristics of a strong, manly man, but interwoven into that was also like some chivalry and tenderness and kindness too. You know, not just.
Oh yeah, this is a good one. The difference between alpha and Chad. You know.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so alpha to me is a man who is unfazed in his knowing of his power. I joke these days that, men used to know what it is to be a man. It is to be, above women no matter what. When you actually know your power, a woman can never threaten you, and you're incapable of competing with women because you're on a different level than women as a man.
Yeah.
And I have to break up with these guys as soon as they start competing with me, because I'm like, you're not a man. You're supposed to know that you're above me, but now you're competing with me, so you just lowered yourself. Anyway, so in Chad is an interesting term, but these men who just know their power to the core, so that they can actually be tender and vulnerable, so because everyone has, difficult things that come into their lives, and if to the core of your being you know your power as a man, then you can be transparent about a difficulty, and it doesn't phase your confidence in who you are, and you don't care who sees or is aware of your difficulty, because you're still you just have this underlying power and knowing of your foundation as a man. But Chad is more like a show. Being Chad is like manliness, and in the most showy way. The muscle flexing and the acting out in these like flamboyant manliness. It's more of a show that may be masking underlying beta-ness, actually.
So trying rather than being. Really.
Yeah, perhaps. But Chad does not always mean that you're secretly beta. Some alphas may be their personality to be Chad, including my ex two boyfriends ago. My ex was he was Chad on the outside, but then on the inside, in the secret quiet place, he was alpha. But he just enjoyed the show of being a Chad, and he's a Leo. He's a Leo, so Leos enjoy showiness, but that's just their human nature. It doesn't mean that they're not alpha underneath. He actually was. So it's a good point. What's your take?
There was something you said there that struck. I don't know. My dad was, I know what it was. My dad was an alpha, and I married an alpha, but they were both very kind and respectful to their women. Yeah, not threatened by them in any way. And I think maybe maybe a true characteristic of an alpha is a little bit like what you said, that they realize the differences between the male and the female. So there is no competition. They're meant to complement each other, not to compete against each other. So they enjoy, like Dad used to always enjoy my femininity, and if I excelled at something or whatever, because it just filled a different need. It filled a different role in our family and in the world, and my success was his success, and I looked at him the same way. There was no competition unless we were miniature golfing. Then there was
Love it.
bowling.
Well, guys, our hour has flown by, and this has been a wonderful Truth Bombs with my mom, Renee Hecker. She is a celebrity life coach, and I've got her website linked down in my description, as well as her Instagram. She posts a lot of life advice on Instagram as well. So thank you guys for tuning in. We're here in Arizona. Shout out to Marcus for allowing us to borrow this studio while we are in Arizona. Thank you so much, Marcus. And we are here for Grace's wedding, my sister.
Yeah, tomorrow. Have
Yay.
11 of my kids here. It'll be fun.
All right. We'll see you guys later. Have a wonderful weekend.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.